Good evening and thanks for joining us for 23 ABC News at 5. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight's top stories. A second coronavirus-related death in Kern County. We'll tell you about the latest developments and how many cases are being reported. Plus,
I had to take her to the heart hospital because she started feeling really sick. She started running very high fevers at 104 and up, and that was one of the very big symptoms of COVID-19.
family of a local patient speaking out about the virus and how they're doing. We'll hear from them and the message they have for the community. 23 ABC News at 5 starts right now. Good evening. We are beginning tonight with breaking news. The Kern County Sheriff's Office confirming with 23 ABC that there are several deputies who have tested positive for COVID-19. Spokesperson Angela Monroe says they are not releasing any details about whether it is detentions deputies or patrol deputies. She added that public health would be the one to determine if any other employees would need to isolate themselves. This coming as Lerdo says it's working with public health and Kern Medical to keep staff and inmates safe. Lerdo officials confirm they are taking the inmates' temperatures and making sure they are wearing face masks on intake. They say when an inmate is booked at the central receiving facility, they are wearing a mask and stop at a nursing station before entering the facility. Now to our other top story tonight, the death toll in Kern County rising as Kern County Public Health announced the second coronavirus-related death. This comes just a week after the first death in Kern County. Director of Public Health Matt Constantine says he offers his condolences to the family and their thoughts are with them. The department also released new numbers on COVID-19 cases in Kern County. 194 residents have tested positive for the virus and 5 non-residents have also tested positive. Again, they are now reporting 2 deaths. And more than 4,500 tests have been administered at this time, with nearly 2,500 tests returning negative. A local family is speaking out after 2 of their loved ones tested positive for COVID-19. Now, one of them is fighting for her life in the hospital while others wait for test results. 23 ABC's Leslie Gooden spoke with the family on how they're coping. She's joining us live tonight from Bakersfield Heart Hospital. Leslie?
Yes, good evening. Today I was able to speak with Jamie Rosenblatt, who shares with me her grandparents, herself, and her mother have all tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. And just behind me here at the Heart Hospital, her mother is fighting for her life. And Jamie says she felt that it was her responsibility to speak out and warn the community about the seriousness of this virus.
I didn't take it seriously until my mom told me I am diagnosed with COVID-19.
40-year-old Lisa Mundy is a Bakersfield native who's currently fighting for her life at the Bakersfield Heart Hospital after being diagnosed for COVID-19, according to her 19-year-old daughter, Jamie Rosenblatt. Hospital officials confirmed that Mundy is a patient. Rosenblatt shares that she too has also tested positive alongside with her grandparents after they all showed symptoms over a span of a week. Now they are self-isolating and unable to see or speak to Mundy.
The last couple of days have been hard. My mom is the one that is in the hospital with the coronavirus. She is in a medical-induced coma. She is heavily sedated and is on a ventilator. So that means she is not awake. She cannot talk, she can't text, she can't do anything.
Rosenblatt shares that her mother does have other underlying health conditions, such as lung disease, and was at high risk in contracting the virus. And her family took all precautions, and they are not sure how she got it.
Mom has had very bad health issues for her entire life. I want to say May in 2015 or 16, she was in the hospital for 33 consecutive days and almost died 3 times. She got pulmonary emboli in her lungs, she went septic, and things were not looking good for her. It took her a few years to get back up on her feet, and then this happened.
Last weekend, Rosenblatt says things took a turn for the worse when her mother FaceTimed her when they were both in the house because she was unable to speak and was fighting to breathe. Rosenblatt says it was the longest hour of her life.
When I walked in there, I turned on her light and she was all blue. She was not getting any oxygen through her body. She was coughing and she was choking and she was gasping for air. So I had to call the ambulance. They didn't get there first. The fire department did, and they couldn't come inside because of the at-risk factor for them. So I had to help my mom get out of the house, and that was like probably the scariest thing because I felt like her life depended on me.
And now she's urging the public to take this virus seriously.
People need to know the severity of it. You don't understand or you don't realize how scary it is until it's you or your family member.
Jamie says the rest of her family members are still awaiting their test results, and as of today, her mom is stable. For now, in Bakersfield, Leslie Gooden, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
All right, Leslie, thinking of that family tonight. A 10-year record-long streak of U.S. job growth ended last month. That's according to the Associated Press. Employers cut more than 700,000 jobs in the month of March due to the coronavirus outbreak. The unemployment rate jumped to 4.4% from a 50-year low of 3.5%. The U.S. saw 273,000 new jobs in February, and now almost 10 million Americans have applied for unemployment benefits. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, a record-breaking 6.6 million Americans filed for unemployment just last week. With the increase of cases, 23 ABC's Kylie Walker explains the best way to file for benefits.
The Employment Development Department says they hope to have this week's current unemployment numbers as soon as possible. But due to the high volume of calls they're receiving due to job loss because of COVID-19, only the claims they opened in March have been released.
The demand for unemployment benefits is really historic at this point. In the week ending March 21st, the EDD processed about 187,000 unemployment insurance claims, about a 363% increase from the same week a year ago, and up substantially from just a week prior, where we had processed about 58,000 claims. So the demand has been massive.
And to those looking to file an unemployment claim, expect it to take a few weeks.
We have to check wage records and a number of other things. And so most Californians, with everything that the EDD is doing right now, should be able to hear from us and get that first benefit payment if they're deemed eligible within about 3 weeks of applying for those benefits.
Levy says applying for benefits through their UI online is always the best option.
We have a new feature on that now, whereby someone comes into the system and they can select from the drop-down menu that the coronavirus is the reason for their unemployment or the reduction of their hours. So we really want people to utilize that. That'll help us process their claim.
And by appointment, you can also visit your local America's Job Center once they reopen, or you can call 1-800-300-5616 for all UI claims.
That was 23 ABC's Kylie Walker reporting. President Donald Trump and the coronavirus task force holding their daily news briefing. They addressed the latest developments and a recommendation from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. President Trump says national stockpile of personal protective equipment is near depletion because the government is, quote, sending it directly to hospitals. But the big announcement coming as a recommendation from the CDC, and the commander-in-chief addressed that in the news briefing.
This is voluntary. I don't think I'm going to be doing it, but you have a lot of ways you can look at it as follows. The CDC is recommending that Americans wear a basic cloth or fabric mask. They can be either purchased online or simply made at home, probably material that you'd have at home.
He went on to add that the CDC is not recommending the use of medical or surgical grade masks. This all coming as the White House announced a new procedure in which anyone close to the president will be tested for COVID-19.
I hope everybody had a great Friday and enjoyed that good air quality and spring-like weather, and that's going to be the case for at least one more day across Kern County. But this evening, going to be nice to maybe head out on a walk or enjoy that fresh air, looking at 68 degrees right now here in Bakersfield. Those temperatures are up from this time yesterday across the county, and that trend is going to be continuing throughout your Saturday. So for your dinner time plans, 68 at 5, 67 at 6, and we will be holding on to those 60s as soon as the sun sets at 7. But we are going to be tracking some cool overnight temperatures, overnight lows dipping down into those mid-40s here in Bakersfield. And we are going to be seeing an increase in winds as we head into the weekend. That's going to be ahead of our next storm system. So I have more details on when you can expect rain and just how long it will be sticking around coming up next.
The Diocese of Fresno has announced that Catholic schools will remain closed for the rest of the school year. The Fresno Diocese and schools will continue distance learning at 21 campuses until the last instructional day in May. Officials said they realize seniors and 8th graders will not have traditional graduation ceremonies and that privileges will not be occurring this spring. However, they added that each school is planning a celebration, which would be in early summer, to honor those students. It's no mystery, Bakersfield has always ranked near the top as one of the worst cities in the U.S. when it comes to air pollution. 23 ABC's Austin Westfall spoke with local officials about the impact the COVID-19 pandemic is having and why it is actually doing some good when it comes to air quality.
We've seen it in places like China and Los Angeles. Unusually clear skies as people self-isolate amid this coronavirus outbreak. Scientists say they have a simple reason why this is happening. Less cars on the road means less pollution.
So if there was to be a silver lining in all of this, we are actually quite pleased that people are talking about air pollution and noticing the difference. And it's almost like a big social experiment.
Heather Heinz is with the San Joaquin Valley Air District, a district that oversees cities that see some of the worst air pollution in the country, including Bakersfield and Fresno. She says the district has talked for decades about getting people to change their behavior and recognize their personal contribution to pollution.
And so effectively, this will demonstrate in mass a major reduction in pollution based on change in behavior.
Heinz says one of the main ways they measure air quality is by monitoring for nitrogen oxides, or NOx. NOx is often prevalent in areas with a high density of traffic, and it's a precursor to ozone creation.
And so we can definitely see just on straight data of NOx coming off those roadway monitors that there's absolutely less pollution outside.
Preliminary data taken in the San Joaquin Valley is showing that there has been a decline in the amount of NOx in our air. Officials say our air quality usually tends to improve in March anyway, but the district says this improvement has been more abrupt.
It's a little early to tell and give credit to the stay-at-home order, but if things continue as they are, we're likely to see some excellent air quality for the immediate future.
Now, Heinz says that typically in the summer months, that's when we see worse air quality in Bakersfield. That's because the hot sun tends to bake the NOx into our air. We'll just have to wait and see if things change this year. For now in Bakersfield, Austin Westfall, 23 ABC, connecting you.